Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co-host on the other side. This time we're
How they
live.
do? How they do?
We're
Yeah.
live at the White Rhino,
As you
Angel.
can see, I don't have my virtual background in the back today.
Exactly, it's not the pimp house that he usually is at, ladies and gentlemen, but we are live at the White Rhino here off of Milby in the Edo east side of Houston, Texas. You already know where it's
Come
at.
through, come through. It's a pretty good crowd today. It's like there's a lot of people. The Astros game just finished. They had it on right here. A lot of good times, good food. I heard I've been
Man,
spending
I
it as
saw
they
that
come in.
food.
Yeah,
The quesadilla looks good, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah, I mean, shoot, when you're at a home game over here at Minute Maid Park, I mean, just be ready. Be ready to become over here at the White Rhino Cocktail Bar, as well as you could ride the Metro for free. Get you free instead of paying what $30, $40 kind of parking.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a perfect time to do it.
absolutely. Again, like the Metro right here, but we have a jam-packed episode that it might take us a little bit more than an hour. So stay tuned. We're talking about Astros Roundup, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're not gonna be doing it kind of sad today because it's been a tough stretch. It's gonna be a sad kind of sad, and we don't want that. So we're gonna be talking about what's going on with the Astros. Kind of our input of what could be wrong, what could how can we change that. We're gonna have a little preview of the Detroit series, and then obviously stopping at the train station, the injury updates, and what's popping around the juice box. But what can you follow us, though?
Of course, I mean Twitter, you got Full Steam Ahead, as well as Instagram FSA Full Steam Ahead, and TikTok. Obviously, our TikTok did pretty well yesterday.
Absolutely.
Talking about Josh Hader's pitch selection. But
yeah.
you got to do what you got to do. You got to put out the word out there and make sure that he's doing the right things, and it happens. But yeah, that's where you can follow us. Of course, like I said, we are 2 subscribers away from the hundo, Angel. The hundo,
The
as Ed
hundo.
Blummer calls it. 100 followers or subscribers, I guess you could say on YouTube. And
Absolutely,
if you do
absolutely.
that, if we do that, like I said, 100 subscribers on YouTube, we will put a giveaway. It could be a ticket, could be bobbleheads. I don't know, Angel. It's kind of like a stay tuned kind of thing. But yeah, let's get started real quick on the
Absolutely.
right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and the ugly. That's how we're gonna do it instead of today's usual recap. So let's start with the good, Angel. I mean, Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker
On a
has
roll.
been on a roll for the Astros. I mean, he had 2 home runs in the first 2 games against this Yankee
In
series.
the first inning.
First inning in both games too, I want to say. So I mean, he's been on a roll. Looking at it right now, 2 for 11, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Like I said, he's had 6 home runs in his last 11 games. He's leading the AL in home runs as well as tied in the lead with Shohei Ohtani and Marcel
Shohei.
Ozuna. So that's a good thing about Kyle Tucker right now because we talked about it. If he gets going, and if Yordan Alvarez could get going, that top of the lineup could continue smashing, and the Astros could kind of pile up some wins.
Absolutely, and I kind of like him in that 2 spot. Obviously, he got the offense rolling these 2 out of the 3 games in the New York City, but also 6 for 6 in stolen bases at 30-30. Milestone that he's trying to get. He was a home run shy. I was looking kind of like pretty good, if you ask me. But a really, really good series for Kyle Tucker, and just season after also as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a good season. I mean, right now, so far, he's looking like he has a great season. Obviously, I think he's going to be targeting that 30-30 season. We know that he could do the 20-20,
Yeah.
but the 30-30 is the ultimate goal because there's only been one Astro to do it, and that's Mr. Jeff Bagwell himself, the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what he could do. But let's move on to the bad because, of course, there was some bad and there was some ugly here in this series against the Yankees. The bad, I mean, the Astros offense just looks lost at the plate right
Absolutely.
now, honestly.
And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you can kind of notice that with the tweaks in the lineup that Espada's doing, moving Jeremy Payne into that 4th. Though I think that one caught me by surprise. I think I know you kind of texted me off air, kind of a little shocked as well. Like Bregman moving down, pretty obvious, right? Needed to be, but in that Payne in that 4 hole really was surprising.
I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, obviously, he's had multi-hit games in both of them times that he's been in the cleanup spot. And usually in the cleanup spot, you usually want a power hitter. And Jeremy Payton is not the power hitter, but he's going to find a way to get on base. And the contact is looking pretty phenomenal for him so far.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and then think about it, in the beginning of the season, didn't I say he was going to hit over 300?
You did? You caught that?
I called it. I called it. A lot of people were kind of doubting about it, but the way he's hitting right now, if he continues to hit like that, sure enough, he could look like he could be making a trip to Arlington for his first All-Star appearance.
I can see that.
So, but yeah, let's continue on talking about the offense. I mean, Tuesday, 3 runs on the board, 3 hits, of course, ended the night. Kyle Tucker's home run, 2-run single by Trey Cabbage in the ninth. Runs in scoring position was 1 for 3. Go to Wednesday night, 4 runs, 11 hits this time. But I will continue to say that wasn't the strength of the Yankees start rotation. I mean, the starting pitcher, Carlos Rodon, which we talked about, he's going to be throwing a lot of sliders. And sure enough, I mean, he did throw a lot. But 4 runs, 11 hits, Kyle Tucker home run, as we talked about. Jake Myers triple. Jerry Pena did a little jalapeno popper at the end. But the biggest thing here, runners in scoring position, 2 for 11. It's not what you want to see if you're a Houston Astros fan.
Yeah, and even though they won this Thursday game, I was still like the trend that continued on. Like, yes, the Astros won 4-3, but they had a potential to put a lot more runs than 4 in that one. There's like they stranded a runner on third like a few times and even on second. So that still again, I'm glad they won, right? But that needs to be cleared up for the Astros.
Yeah, and then Thursday, like we said, today's game, I mean, episode 177, what do you mean? Get to talk about Astros escape a sweep in the Bronx? Because if you look through the series, I mean, New York came to Houston in the opening series of the season, swept them. And it was looking pretty close that the Bronx Bombers were just going to sweep the Astros out of this season and try to make them not even make it to the postseason this year. So Astros did score 4 runs. Yordan Alvarez finally got on the board, dude. I mean, it took a while. Got that solo shot. Hasn't hit a home run since that Mexico City series. And then John Singleton, big bad John. I mean, shout out to the dude right there. We didn't even get to talk about his defensive play on Josh Hader scooping that ball at first. I mean, that was a critical move right there for him to do. And then hitting that 2-run homer, shot. But to the third deck.
That was a shot.
I'm telling you, he hit it to Rockefeller Center, to the Empire State Building, maybe even Times Square, because that ball looked like it could have revolved around the city. But runners in scoring position still was an issue for the Astros, 3 for 12. That's not where you want to be in this team. And we talked about runners in scoring position, the RBI production on this team. And the American League, they're like top 10. They're not top 5, not top 3. They're top 10. It's done not a great job at that spot. And sure enough, luckily today, I mean, it was enough to win the game.
Absolutely. But we'll talk to us about the ugly part, because then you said the good, the bad. Now, what's the ugly?
Yeah, I mean, the ugly, man. I mean, starting pitching.
Yeah.
And this is a stat from the Space City Home Network, because shout out to them. Starting pitching has not done great in the first inning. I mean, it's just looked flat out horrendous. And we've continued to talk about their bullpen and their starting rotation. First inning, Angel, 18 ERA.
Yikes.
Double-digit ERA. Opponent batting average, my gosh, 430 for the Astros. That's not what you want from a starting pitcher. Obviously, we'll talk about a little bit more about Spencer Arrighetti and Justin Verlander. But first inning, that's just horrendous. Second inning, it gets a little bit better, 450 ERA.
I mean, that's still not good. But
it's not good, but, I mean, better than 430. Come on. I mean, you can think about that. 277 opponent batting average, 506 ERA in the third inning with a 233 opponent batting average, which is a little bit better. And then the fourth inning, 338 ERA, 262 opponent batting average. So not good stats right there for the Astros as a starting pitcher. I mean, we talked about it before. Framber Valdez, Christian Javier is going to be having some news here in a little bit. But Hunter Brown, JP France, I mean, Spencer Arrighetti, another one. I mean, everybody's been struggling through that first inning. Trying to get a 1-2-3 clean inning. It's just so difficult for this starting rotation, and it's shown in this series against the Yankees.
Yeah, and I mean, tell us about those stats. You know?
Yeah, I mean, let's go with Justin Verlander. 5 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. And remind everybody, I mean, I did say that this was the worst start in his career was 6 earned runs. But now, I mean, look at this, 7 earned runs against the Yankees. This is the worst start in his Astros tenure. I mean, tied the most runs he's allowed to start in Astros uniform. After the game, he had said this. I mean, quote, "I think these guys, meaning the Yankees, showed me today that I've got some work to do." So, I mean, from a veteran to say something like that, that shows that he's confident that he could get something going in the next outing.
Absolutely. I think Justin Verlander's going to be looking at film and see maybe he was tipping pitches, or maybe, you know, what was going on. I think it wasn't the tip part. I think it was more like he left a lot of stuff over the plate, a lot of hanging stuff. Fastball wasn't like really located correctly. But again, I think he'll clean that up.
Yeah, and then Spencer Arrighetti real quick, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. For him, I mean, we talked about the command has to be there, keep that breaking ball low and below the zone. And it just wasn't. The fastball was flat, too. Left a lot of pitches. I don't know if you've seen that. A lot of pitches down the pipe in the zone. Juan Soto bomb, Aaron Judge bomb. Giancarlo Stanton with that 120 miles per hour home run. I mean, it just wasn't a good day for the Astros number 3
I
prospect.
know, like I feel like you talk about Shohei Ohtani hitting some like balls that sound like shotguns. That was one right there. That
Yeah,
was a
I
loud.
mean, it was just not in the spots that he wanted, but Ronel Blanco at the end of the day came to save the day.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before, this guy has been the most Astros consistent pitcher in the lineup. Right now, he's like the ace for the Astros. I would say
Absolutely.
he's pitching really well. Moves his record of 4-0. He has a ERA under 250. He's looked phenomenal so far, and like just like Jerry Pena, if he continues to be at this rate, he could be going to his first All Star game too in Arlington, Texas.
Absolutely. But I mean, let's move on to what exactly is going on. And most of their losses that they had is when all three, either offense, pitching, or bullpen has not clicked. Like there's has games where the starting pitching was good, offense was good, but bullpen was not great, right? And it alternates. And I know we kind of said this. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, like hearing this, but it's the truth. Like there's been some games like I would even say just with that little falter by Brian Presley, this was a complete win for the Astros. Offense, put up points. Starting pitching did what it had to do, and even the bullpen did what it had to do. Shout out to Josh Hader for pitching more than 3 outs. That's one of the things that he, did not want to do with the Padres, but having the record where they are, being in the place where they are, just got to make some sacrifices. But let's start with kind of the decline of Alex Bregman. I know we kind of touched about him. I know we're on Twitter, right? Like we see what what the Astros fans are saying, and frustrations brewing from both, not just Alex Bregman, but from fans as well. He's batting a 189 batting average, 520 OPS, which the average is 700, and an OPS plus of 53. The average is 100. So way below par by Alex Bregman standards for sure. And again, I kind of touched on this like last podcast. He's kind of leaving some money on the table as well because with this atrocious start. But surprisingly, he's struggling with against right-handed hitters. Like
Wow.
I think that was a big change from his early on in his career because in 2022 he was batting 277 off righties, 2023 282 off righties, 2024 which is this season 205.
That
Which-
is horrible.
Yeah,
That's a horrible stat. My
absolutely.
gosh.
So I think that's part of the problem, and part of that is the breaking ball, right? So you know how that lefty-lefty matchup, that breaking ball, tails away from the lefty. Well, with right-handers, was that also do tail away from him, and that's what he's kind of struggling to see. Aussie pitches, which include split fingers, change-ups, and all that sorts. He has one hit of all those pitches, one hit for a 63 batting average. Breaking balls, now the difference between Austin and breaking ball is like a sweeper, curveball, slider, things that move kind of like that horizontal plane. He has 3 hits, batting 97. Against the fastballs, 20 hits, 15 singles. So kind of getting the ball elevated. He only has 1 home run, and with fastballs at 250 average. But that whiff rate on that breaking ball, 25% whiff rate, which is again not kind of like what Jeremy Pena did last year. Was happening to Alex Bregman this year. I mean, were you surprised by those numbers, or
I'm shocked, honestly. I mean, this is a guy that was a runner-up for MVP in 2019, an All-Star MVP. I mean, this guy has done it all. I mean, this is a break year for him to try to get a contract that he is comfortable with, trying to capitalize on the money and all that type of stuff. But as of right now, he's like probably hitting one of the worst third basemen right now in Major League Baseball. I mean, look at the stats right here, like you have provided for everybody. I mean, the offense is just not there for him. A prime example was today. I mean, runner on third in scoring position. John Singleton, I believe, struck out, and then Alex Bregman had a great opportunity to bring a guy in, and he hits a shallow ball to Juan Soto and right. And honestly, that could have been an infield pop-up as well. But yeah, I mean, it looks like the power's just not there for him. Inconsistency as well. It looks like he's just doing too much, I would say. And if you're just trying to do too much, you're squeezing the hell out of the bat. You're not going to do anything for this team. So.
Yeah, I would say like production, that's frustrating. The record plays a part too. They're just kind of pressing. I think Alex Bregman is one of the big ones. He has a lot going on, contract here, like you said. So I think just a breather. I know you were telling me off air, maybe a day off or two for Alex Bregman could kind of get him back in place. But I mean, we'll see how his spotter plays it in that end.
Yeah, I think that's the best move, honestly. That's what I was telling you off air. I'm like, if you're consistently going 0 for 0 for 0 for, I mean, I think it would be good for another day off for him. He hasn't had a day off since he was sick. You remember he had that stomach bug issue. And I think Mauricio Dumont, this guy's a gold glove utility man for a reason. I think he could be plugged at third base and play a game there, here or there, just to give Alex Bregman a break and, regroup.
Before we go on to the next guys, you know,
Yeah, I mean, we got Blackie here. How's the Rhino looking? The Rhino is packed, my man. I
Pretty
mean, you're
bad, pretty
missing
good
out.
vibes.
You're missing out. There's a bunch of drink specials going on.
there's to be a
They
DJ
got,
after us.
yeah, DJ after us. Got a taco truck going on, but it's a great vibes around. A lot of people are just enjoying a Thursday night because Friday is here, Angel. Friday is
Absolutely,
here.
absolutely. The next guy I want to talk about, again, I'm not including this game stat, so what I'm about to talk about is from yesterday's game and before, right?
Mhm.
So because the next guy Yordan Alvarez, and he had a pretty good game. I mean, you would say today, right? But prior to this game, he only had 3 hits in May. He had a 0 for 18 stretch during this month as well. We're in what, May 7th, May 8th, May 9th?
Yeah, I'm about to be May 10th. Shoot.
And he has 3 hits?
That's shocking.
That's not Yordan Alvarez baseball, right? But something, when I took a glimpse of what's going on is he's struggling when he falls behind the count. And something about Yordan Alvarez is that they're going to be opposing pitchers be poking the corners on him because of a threat, great hitter he is. So they're not going to want to, obviously, they're going to put anything right down the middle, right?
Yeah.
And be poking those corners. But when he does fall 0-1, with 1 strike on him, he's batting 211. He has 2 home runs and 15 hits, which is pretty good, right? But when he falls 1-2, 108 batting average, 1 home run, 16 strikeouts, 4 hits.
Wow. 16 strikeouts?
16 strikeouts. Yeah. So when he falls 0-2, it doesn't look pretty as well. 120 batting average, 9 strikeouts, 1 home run, 3 hits. And when he's 2 for 2, which, an even count, I even including this one, an even count, 50 batting average, 7 strikeouts, and 1 hit. Although he did have a home run today with a 3-2 count. And just to give you those numbers as well, with 3-2 count, 214 batting average, 3 hits, 1 home run. And he also did strike out today with a full count. So it's kind of the tale of 2 stories there.
What do you think is more shocking, the start that Alvarez is at right now or Alex Bregman's, the way he's hitting?
I put Alex Bregman.
I think so too. Leave in the comments, what do y'all think? I mean, do you think Bregman is the more shocking or the Alvarez shocking of striking out so much? My gosh, I mean, I'm looking at the stats. I mean, he has triple digits on strikeouts in 2021, 2022, close to triple digits in 23 with 92 strikeouts, but already 26 strikeouts in the regular season, not counting today's stat line for him. But yeah, leave it in the comments below. What do you think? What's more shocking, Alvarez start or the Bregman start?
Yeah,
it's shocking for both, really.
Oh, I'm not even done with Alvarez. So a big factor in him falling behind and his struggles is that he's actually chasing out of the zone a lot more. So, well, let me give you his numbers. In 2022, his chase rate was 24.8%. Because we credit Yordan Alvarez having a great eye, just like Bregman, right? 2023, 26% chase rate. 2024, 31 chase rate, which is a career high. His chase contact percentage out of the zone is 67%, which kind of creates soft contact, right? Because it's out of the zone, you're kind of like, kind of lunging on it. And his whiff rate is at 19.3%, which is also pretty high for his standards too.
Yeah, for him, it's like you gotta poke it out there. I mean, you gotta find a way to bring guys in. You're in the 3-4 spot. You have to find a way to bring these guys in. Bringing in Altuve, bringing in Tucker, bringing in whoever's in front of him. I mean, he has to find a way to do it. And with the runners in scoring position issues, the same thing as Alvarez striking out, that's not going to help you a bunch of times.
Now, those are the 2 big guys in the lineup, and their struggles have been a factor for this team because Astros offense overall is not that bad if you think about it. So, as a team, they're hitting 256, which ranks 6th in the major leagues. As a team, they have a 731 on base percentage, which ranks 7th in the league, and then they have 319 hits, which ranks 6th in the league. Their strikeout numbers. I know we can't talk about Yordan Alvarez right now. 233 strikeouts this season, which is best. That's just best in the league. They have strikeout less than any other team. So they're getting their hits, but when you look at that number in runners in scoring position, it's just not situational hitting at that aspect. Like it's untimely hitting how we've been preaching there. Like they're getting their singles, they're getting their doubles, but it's what happens once runners gets on. That's been the tale of this season.
Yeah, and the Yankees did a great job in this series. If you look at the contact, like for example, Juan Soto with bases loaded. He had a little dribbler to first, and John Singleton and Spencer tried to go into cover first, and Soto beat it out. So just putting the ball in play is just going to help this team more. If you don't put the ball in play, I mean, long things are going to happen, just like these runners in scoring position stats that we have given you. And it's been a tale of, for the past 2 years for the Astros, runners in scoring position has been the biggest issue. And it just continues to haunt them a lot, especially a lot with the record that they have right here this year in 24.
I mean, injuries play a part too, but I've told you kind of like the good, right? The offensive numbers are pretty good, but
Yeah,
it's their pitching.
yeah.
But go ahead, we have a comment right here.
Yeah, Bregman. I mean, he's basically said Gary Longhaul for a Bregman contract year should be popping off. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think a lot of people were expecting Bregman to continue going and looking for a new home after the season. But after this, I mean, I don't know what's gonna be the contract looking like for him if he continues to be at this rate.
But moving on to starting pitching, Christian Javier and Ronald Blanco, like you saw today, have been great thus far. Best pitchers for the Astros this season. Even Framber Valdez is kind of sort of struggling a little bit. I know he's coming back from injury. It wasn't a pretty good start, from the back, but I think he'll get it right. But just right now, he has an ERA of 3.97, 3.95 FIP, which is fielding in independent pitching, and then 1.412 WHIP. Right, the WHIP ideally you kind of want it at 1.0. Under zero is pretty phenomenal, right? But a problem with Framber Valdez that I'm seeing, and it's his best pitch because he likes to throw it a lot. His most thrown pitch, besides the curveball, is the sinker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it hasn't been that effective as it has in years past. So the sinker has been getting kind of hit hard. Just to give you put that in perspective, last year the opponent batting average for a sinker was 274. This year over 300, 333. Last year he used that sinker to kind of like get swings and misses.
Mm-hmm.
Whip percentage last year was 12.6. This year, 6.3 whip percentage on that. And then the put away on the sinker last year in 2023, 20.7. Put away for the sinker, 5.9 this year.
That's a huge difference.
Huge
You're
difference.
going from 20 to 5.
For put away, yeah.
That's a
So,
15% difference right there.
A problem with that is location, kind of like, he's when it's in the strike zone, is right in the wheelhouse to the hitter, and when it's missing, it's not a contested take. It's not a very enticing pitch for the pitcher, right? For the hitter, right? His highest strikeout in the game is 6. He's only done it once.
So he hasn't even reached double-digit marks but it's a small sample size because he was injured as well. But
last year, I mean, we're talking about Framber Valdez averaging 7, 8 strikeouts, like reaching double digits kind of times. But again, I know it's small samples, like you said, but that's kind of like a big dip on that effectiveness of the scene.
yeah, never thought.
I'm not going to talk about every pitcher, because I ain't trying to keep you out here for an hour. But another problem for the Astros that they needed this guy to step up is Hunter Brown, and I think everybody can agree with me there.
Yeah.
He has an 8.89 ERA, which if you look at that, there's not that many pitchers in the major leagues with an ERA like that. 5.50 FIP and 2.195 WHIP. Again, we just told you a WHIP of 1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
When you go over 2,
that's a big difference, dude. And that's basically getting demoted to AAA or option pretty soon.
And then for those of you who don't know what WHIP is, it stands for walks, hits, innings pitched. So he's averaging about 2.1 walks, hits per inning, right? So that's trouble on the base pass for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
A problem with Hunter Brown, we kind of mentioned, has been location. So he's hitting his own percentage is down from last year. This year's 4.86. His first pitch strike percentage is also low from this year with a 55.5%, which is his lowest in his career. Obviously, again, he's been in the league for 2 years. Strikeout percentage is down from last year, and his walk percentage is up from last year. So those are not winning numbers right there for sure.
Now, I mean, this was one of the guys that was kind of on top of most. What's that word? It's not impact forward, not even approved. It's like a guy that was going to take that step forward this year for the Astros, and it was him being regarded as one of the best guys to be coming up soon. And it hasn't shown this year. I mean, he hasn't shown that he's capable of taking the next step. I mean, he's been hit hard a lot. The command of his off speeds just hasn't been there for him, and it's shown a lot, especially looking at the ERA and the FIP statistics and all that. It just shows right there.
Yeah, and then last thing before I pass the mic to Zoe to give us that wonderful pitching preview, let's talk about the bullpen, because again, we praise the bullpen for Josh Hader, Ryan Pressly, Ryan Abreu, but those have been the main struggles. So let's start with Josh Hader. This is the only guy I'm going to go in depth with because he's getting paid the big bucks too. So I think Astros fan expected him to be good, right? So Josh Hader has a 6.14 ERA. That kind of probably dipped down after this start. Again, the stats I'll give you from yesterday's game and below. He has a whip of 1.432 and a hits per 9, 8.6. It's pretty high.
That's high.
So just like Framber Valdez, his sinker hasn't been sharp. let's compare the numbers from last year and this year. In 2023, his opponent batting average on the sinker was 1.90. Sorry, 0.190. Slugging percentage 0.270, and then the whip at 27.9%, which is pretty good. This year, 2024, opponent batting average on the sinker 0.343, way over 300. Slugging percentage on that pitch 0.512, and then 22.1 whiff rate. A prime example, again, I think location is like part of it. A prime example is that Kyle Riley home run in Seattle. That sinker was right down the middle.
Yeah. I mean, we broke it down in the video too. I mean, you don't see it on TikTok. We broke it down talking about the pitch selection. But yeah, I mean, the sinker just hasn't been there for him. And this is one of the guys that the Astros rely on in the back end. I mean, he's getting paid the big bucks. He's the closer for the reason for the Astros. And he just hasn't shown. I mean, the save percentages for the Astros this year, there's one of the worst in Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, that's been the trend. And obviously, with the save percentage, is the record, obviously, right? They haven't been, they either below the saves or haven't been in leading too much games. But Ryan Pressey has a 5.71 ERA. It probably went up a little bit because he did allow a home run to Aaron Judge, a 1.673 whip, and then Brian Abreu 4.32 ERA, 1.347 whip. Not the numbers the Astros expected to see from their top three guys.
yeah. No, we preached about it, so we're not going to preach more.
I'm not going to go into detail about that. I'm sure you can look at the numbers, but I kind of praise the offense for being pretty phenomenal, right? The pitching is complete opposite. So the team ERA, this includes bullpen and starting pitching for the Astros, 5.05 ERA, which ranks 28th in the majors. Do you want to guess who the other two teams that they fall behind to?
I know Miami's struggling. Let's go White Sox.
Miami's one,
Okay.
the Rockies.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, the Astros did take two in Mexico City.
So their whip, their team whip of 1.49, 29th in the majors. Only trail Colorado. Only Colorado's behind them. They have 180 earned runs allowed, which is third most. Do you want to guess who the first two most are?
I mean, Miami and Colorado's up there now.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The Astros pitching is in the ranks of Miami and Colorado. Just kind of process that real quick. Put that in your mind real quick. The Astros pitching staff is doing as great as Miami and Colorado.
That's just shocking because we talked about it. This is one of the best pitching staffs from through the years, from 22 to 2023. I mean, it's always been one of the biggest strengths of this team. And then all of a sudden, they are struggling this year, and they have great starting pitching. They have Verlander, Framber, Christian. I mean, yes, in the beginning, of course, you're going to have some injuries, and that's why I thought, in my opinion, that the Astros should have gone to go get a guy like Michael Lorenzen. We talked about it. Vince Velasquez is another one. But, of course, the market, the budget that they're at right now, maybe they couldn't. But, yeah, the strength was the starting pitching and the bullpen, and just right now it's kind of a shocker for all Astros fans out there. But before we go with the pitching preview, Astro Ward Craig, I'm convinced our pitching sucks. And then he continues on saying, think how good the offense would be if they could score a guy from third base with less than 2 outs. Yep, I mean, the Yankee series, prime example. Yankee series was a prime example for them. But you got anything else before we move on to Tiger series? Let's go.
You know what? Yeah, I do. I need a little drink after all that talk.
We got a drink break from him. But we're going to move on to the pitching preview against the Detroit Tigers. The Motor City is the City Connect jerseys like we talked about the last time. I don't think it's a top 5, but it's a top 10, I would say. For me, 1918 record, 4-6 in their last 10 games. So this is a winnable series for the Astros. Absolutely. It's actually a winnable series, possibly it could be a sweepable series, I guess you could say, for the guys in the orange and navy blue. But Friday, let's start off 5:40 start time. Framber Valdez, 1-1 with a 3.27 ERA. He'll be going against Casey Mize, 1-1 with a 3.98 ERA. And let's start with Framber. I mean, you gave all them statistics talking about from last year, from this year. It's not the same Framber Valdez. It's not the same La Grasa. Last start versus Seattle, we talked about he had to be sharp against a team like that. Just wasn't. 5 1/3, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And we talked about before, command was everywhere in his last start. In order for him to capitalize and be able to be successful, to be a Cy Young candidate that he was in 22, the command has to be there. Sinker, curveball, all the type pitches. But I do expect a bounce back start from him with the sinker that you were breaking down. Okay. I expect the sinker to be sharp in this one. And I do expect a lot of ground balls going for him in this game against the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and I know the Tigers in the past haven't been so great, but they're almost at 500 this year. They're doing pretty good. Are they? There you go. Riley Green, watch out with that one.
Riley Green, Javi Bias is another one that you could fool with the live swing and miss. But Casey Mize, I mean, this guy was a former 2018 first round overall pick.
Is he a Vandy boy, right?
What?
Is he a Vandy boy?
He was an Auburn. Auburn University, yeah, not Vandy. I could be wrong though, but I think it was Auburn.
Auburn,
It was an SEC
yeah,
school.
I just have it right now.
Okay, good. Last start versus the Yankees, 5 1/3, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Hasn't pitched since 2022. He did have an injury bugging him, didn't pitch in 23, but he's back on the mound. Behind the count, this is where you're going to see the struggle of Mr. Mize. 406 opponent batting average when he's behind a 3-2, a 3-1, a 3-0. You get behind that count, Angel, you're going to be feasting off fastballs all day long. Second time through the order is another one. I mean, a lot of teams make an adjustment through the second time around. And, I mean, I think a lot of Major League teams have done that against Mr. Mize. 373 opponent batting average, 490 slugging. That's another big number right there. Usually in the 500 to 700 mark, that's where you want that slugging gap.
Opponent batting average on that fastball, you said it's a good pitch to hit, 274. So, yeah, stats agree with you.
Stats, yeah. We are heavily on stats, as you can tell, in this pod. Righties, a lot of the righties in this Astros lineup. Altuve, Pena. I mean, we could go on the list, but righties, 362 opponent batting average, a 368 WOBA. The arsenal he throws, four-seamer, slider, split, knuckle curve. He surprisingly throws a lot of split fingers and knuckle curves more to lefties, even though he's a right-handed pitcher. That was the shocker to me, but look alive for that split finger. But more than importantly, you're going to see a heavy dose of the four-seamers and the sliders.
Yeah, and the slider, like I don't just told you the opponent batting average for the fastball, 381 for the slider. So for the sliders, he's going to try to put it right by the knees for lefties, low and away for righties, but he has a 10 to miss middle. So you actually need to take advantage of those.
Yeah, definitely. That's where that red spot is. But let's move on to Saturday because we finally get to see, as in Astro fans, El Repti, 5'10", start time. Christian Javier is a 2-0 with a 154 ERA. He'll be going against a guy that's going to be tough to hit off of, Tyreek Skubal. This guy,
pretty good.
Actually,
really good.
Really good, actually. Let's talk about that. But Javier, Skubal, 4-0 with a 190 ERA. But Javier, real quick, last start versus the Texas Rangers, he hasn't pitched since April 14, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Like Angel had said, I mean, this guy has been one of the most consistent pitchers for the Astros rotation. But I could possibly see a pitch count going on him as he returns to injury with that neck stiffness. But Angel, real quick, what are you looking from Javier in his first start back on the mound since almost over a month?
Honestly, it's pretty easy. More the same for Christian Javier. He's going to throw a high dosage of fastballs, try to throw him out with the slider. But something I do want him kind of, what I want to see him look a little bit more, that changeup has been really effective for Noel Blanco. I think it'll be really effective for Christian Javier because of that highly anticipated four-seam fastball he likes to throw.
El Cambio, as we like to call it here. But Skubal, on the other hand, like we said, I mean, he's been really good for the Tigers. I think he's going to be a Cy Young contender this year. Last start versus the Yankees, a lineup that the Astros just seen right now. I mean, they're really good. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts. Double-digit strikeouts again. One of the best offenses in the American League, I would say, right now. Like I said, Cy Young contender, dominant in every category that you go and look at StatCast. I mean, this guy has been phenomenal in every category. Just a prime example, 219 walks per 9 innings at home, and then a 949 strikeout per 9 innings at Comerica Park. But there is a kryptonite for him, Angel. There is a kryptonite. Make him throw his slider and make him throw the curveball. The breaking run value off these pitches is a -1. Sliders, opponent batting average, and this is a shocker, 235. 235, that's already low enough, but that is highest on any of other of his pitches, which is shocker. Like I said, -2 run value on the slider. On the curveball, the break is not there, vertical and horizontal. On the vertical, you got -2.3, horizontal -3.3. So horizontal, of course, vertical, you know that from your math in high school and college, as you can tell on calculus and all that type of stuff. But he does have a 1-run value on that, so he's going to throw you a lot of four-seamers. He's going to throw you a lot of sinkers. Changeup's another good pitch that he has. But if he's going to throw that curveball and slider and he's going to make a mistake, you have to take advantage if you're one of those Houston Astros players in the lineup.
Easier said than done though, because that fastball he locates it pretty good. He has a he hits the zone 55.3% of the time, which is a career high for him too. So look for him to throw a lot of fastballs high and inside to right-handers, high and away to left-handers. But hits the zone a lot. But you're right. Be patient up there. Let him falter, and then see what you can do.
I think the Astros hitters just have to do that a lot
And
because
then-
they haven't done that this series or even previous past ones.
And honestly, these are the guys the Astros are going to have to beat if they want any hope to make it to the postseason. Right now, they have a tight window to work with. Their record has really put them in a 10-foot hole with no rope coming out. But slowly but surely, they have to climb that hole out, and it starts by beating pitchers like this.
Yeah, I feel like this has to be. I mean, I feel like we preach about this every series for the Astros because it's true. It has to be a winnable series in all these games because, I mean, it's already going to be a third of the season already done, and the Astros are running out of time. They got to figure a way out as of right now. But Sunday, 12:40 start time, you know who you want on that mound, Angel. You want Justin Verlander. 1-1, 4.43 ERA because of that Yankees pitching stat line, 7 earned runs. That's why that ERA is going to be up. But he'll be going against Jack Flaherty, 0-2 record, 3.86 ERA. Verlander, I really don't got nothing to say a lot about him. I already announced the stat line. The thing with him, it's going to be a homecoming because, I mean, he did spend a lot of time over there in Detroit. And I think this is a great homecoming game for him to be able to be dominant and hopefully just see what he could do for the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to hit it there. I think I spend more of the same for him.
Yeah. And then Jack Flaherty, real quick. I mean, he's been another dominant pitcher this year. I mean, this was a free agent signing for the Tigers.
Comeback player of the year possibility.
Could be. So, I mean, he's a veteran on that young team. Last start against Cleveland, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Looked dominant his last 2 starts, Angel. Against the St. Louis Cardinals, no earned runs, double-digit strikeouts at 14. 14 strikeouts for Flaherty, which is very shocking to me. But, I mean, it hasn't been a shocker because when you go look at the stats, 32.9 strikeout percentage, top 6% of the league. The walk rate as well, 3.5 walk percentage is the top 6% of the league as well. But he knows how to place that knuckle curve, and that's been his bread and butter with that fastball mix and the knuckle curve. Averages about 78 miles per hour. The put-away pitch, 30.2, 45 whip percentage. So that's going to be his put-away right there. I mean, the knuckle curve, if he could continue to locate it correctly, which has been low and down in the zone, trying to make hitters chase, he should have no problem.
Absolutely.
So, but other than that, I mean, score early against him. First time through the order, he really struggles. 14 innings pitched, 5.79 ERA. He's allowed 9 earned runs. Opponent batting average is 328, and the slugging as well, 557. So there's a great opportunity for the Astros done that because, I mean, they've done in the past 3 games against the Yankees. They scored early on, but they struggled to score in the middle and the ending of the game.
And to hold the lead.
Yeah, and the bullpen. But offensively, just said, you know. But we're talking about winnable series for the Astros. Just have to take care of business over there at Comerica Park.
Yeah, I think they have to win what? They have to be on pace to win 82 games or more like that to stay in the
They
league.
have to win games. So, I mean, they got to try to finish a record at least over 80. They're going to have to compete with that AL East and the AL Central. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah. But let's move on to from the train station again. No cutting ourselves this week. We had to get down to business this week,
Yep.
right? So from the train station, formerly known as Astros News, and the question of the day: are the Astros selling? And it's funny because I actually had a friend reach out to me on Twitter, ask me the same question: you think the Astros are going to be sellers? And I told him no. Right. So before I tell you what Dana Brown says, no, they have this team's too good. They shut the foundation, right? Injuries have played a part, but there's always next year too. If they don't make it, why trade a key piece that's going to help you on that next run, right? So,
Real quick, you know what that season reminds me? It reminds me of the NBA with the Golden State Warriors. They got the number 1 pick one time, and they were last place because Curry was hurt, Draymond was hurt, Klay Thompson was hurt. So it reminds me of that right there, that season. Maybe the Astros get a draft pick out of it. We don't know.
yeah, but again, no, they're not going to be sellers. But on MLB Now and on MLB, which is on MLB Network, MLB host Brian Kelly asked Dana Brown if he envisioned the Astros being sellers, and Dana Brown is what he had to say, and I quote, no, I can't envision that. I think this ball club is too good. We have a really good rotation. We have a really good bullpen. Our bats are off to a slow start. I think the production coming. I think our guys are too professional. They're good players. I can't predict the scenario when we'll become sellers. Close quote. That was Dana Brown for you guys. Telling you no. they're not going to be sellers.
So, okay, scenario right here. If the Astros are continuing at this rate, getting close to the trade deadline, do you make a move? Do you sell?
Yeah. Now, I know the biggest case is that I heard maybe Alex Bregman, right? But I don't think it's going to happen. Now, it, if they're, if they're like, say, the Miami Marlins are giving up
Like, let's say they're 10 games under 500.
10 games,
10 games under 500.
I'll say you try to sign somebody. Sign somebody. I think it'll give you a good chance. But now,
Or actually trade. You're not signing.
yeah, I'm sorry. I trade for somebody. But the thing is, I could be wrong, but I would say the Astros stay kind of quiet this trade deadline. I don't see a scenario why they would be sellers if they are 10 games behind, like 500, depending on where the AL standings are for the West, right? But the reason I say that is they don't have much to work with under minor leagues. Pedro Leon is having a great season in the minors, which could open up some trade debate, but they have a pretty thin minor league system, and they have guys like Alex Bregman who could potentially you got to replace. They have guys like Kyle Tuck if they don't sign something there. Framber Valdez. They have some key guys that could be gone in the future, right? So, and I don't see them trading Alex Bregman as much as they could probably get something, but as of right now, I don't think they'll probably get much the way he's playing, right? That's also a factor. If Alex Bregman continues on this stretch of not predicting, competitive teams I'm probably going to be trying to shortchange the Astros for Alex Bregman, honestly. Right? Honestly.
Yeah, you're not lying, but I got to go against on this.
Okay.
I got to say they sell. And if Bregman is on a hot streak at that time and they're still under 10 games, if I'm the Astros, I'm trying to sell him because he's under contract for this year. You could still get some type of prospect. You could get one of the top 5 prospects in someone's farm system, I would say. Okay. And I think it'd be helpful because, I mean, the minor league system, well, the farm system in the Astros organization is just depleted. I mean, they already brought up Joey Luperfido. Who's next? Jacob Melton could be next. Pedro Leon's starting to hit the ball, like you said. He could be trade bait if they decide to go buy at the deadline. But then, if they are 10 games under 500 and Bregman is hitting the ball very well, you have to, because you got to find a way to get your farm system back on top.
I agree. But then again, what if you have an injury? You need protection there. Yes, you got Luperfido, but what if he's not hitting right? What do you have after him?
You got Trey Cabbage. You got Jake Myers. You got Chas McCormick, too.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but I would say, I don't know. I'll say keep the minors pretty tight the way it is.
Well, we'll just have to see when it gets close to that time. Leave in the comments, though, what y'all think if the Astros, I mean, that's what I'm saying, scenario-wise. We'll say 10 games under 500. Should they sell, and if Alex Bregman's at that rate, too?
If it's 10 games under 500, they're not selling. Now, if it's 20, 25, maybe. I can see that.
But who do you sell? If Bregman's still hitting that, if Bregman's still at that rate, who do you sell?
If Bregman's still going to be the answer?
Change the scenery, maybe?
Could be.
All right, well, how about Framber Valdez?
Nah. You don't trade him. You see the rotation right now?
I mean, yeah, he's still in there. He's still in there. Just listen in the comments what y'all think. What do y'all think if it does come to that scenario, if it does come out to being that possibility, let us know. What do y'all think? Independence.
But more news. JP France shut down it, which is kind of funny because on the last podcast, I was just telling y'all that JP France only pitched in one game in the minors, like really not too much action. Well, there you go now. He was placed on the minor league IL with right shoulder soreness. So that's what's going on with JP France. The reason why he didn't really have many action in the minor leagues, well, he had a little bother, which again, this word soreness, this word, the Astros kind of like to play with words a little bit where they kind of like downplay the situation. It's just something to monitor. Again, he's in the minors, so we really don't got much information, so we focus more. We get our news more from the major league side. But I'm sure it's going to be a question to ask once the Astros come back, the state of JP France. We'll try to get that for you then.
Yeah, one question, though. I mean, remember he was hurt in the beginning of spring training. You remember he was shut down with, I think, shoulder inflammation, something like that. But at the same time, too, do you think he was playing through an injury?
Could be.
I think so, too. I think he could have been, just like Abreu was last year. Because, I mean, the stats, if you look at it this year, it just hasn't been the same for him.
But help is on the way.
Help is.
Per Mike Harakawa, Jose Urquidy is scheduled to make his first rehab start for Sunday AAA Sugarland. Again, last part I told you it was supposed to be Friday, but this bullpen was pushed back from Monday to Tuesday. Well, there you have it. I figured we got talked about it. It wasn't going to be pushed back.
Yep.
Sunday. George Sparta set the plans for about 4 innings and 60 to 65 pitches, which has been the norm for both Verlander and Christian Javier when they did their rehab start. The interesting thing is going to be how many. I'm predicting maybe 2, max 3 for Jose Urquidy. It just depends how he feels. But even if the Astros are pressing, say they lost 2 series in a row, I don't think they're going to be forcing Urquidy to come back because, again, it's the player first, right? So I think they're going to obviously the Astros care about Jose Urquidy's health, right? They want him for the rest of the season, not just a little short stint. So say 2 or 3 rehab starts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree on that. I think 2 or 3. If four happens, then by all means, take your time.
And
I
then-
don't think they're rushing him for no reason.
Absolutely. And then Chas McCormick's actually with their AAA team as well. He should start a rehab assignment this weekend as well. So look into that as well. Both Jose Urquidy and Chas McCormick with a couple of rehab starts.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much wraps. We do have one news around the horn. It's Paul Skeens, the fireballer. You know what? Little fantasy news.
Nah, man.
Lorenzo was in the shower and I picked up while I was at
I
school.
like how you just exposed. I'm in the shower. I like how you just exposed me.
So I was on my phone when they made the announcement at Paul Skeens. So I was actually working the dismissal line at my school, and I told the kids to wait before I let them in the car because I had to pick up Paul Skeens on fantasy.
I like how you care about your children over there at school.
Hey, I'm trying to win some money here.
No, but look out for this though to be like a Taylor Swift,
I can
Paul
see that.
Skeens, like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Same thing we hear with Livy Dunn and
Yeah.
Paul Skeens.
But he's that's the Pittsburgh Pirates' #1 prospect in the big leagues. Pitching prospect as well. Interesting to see. I think he pitches Saturday. Yeah,
Okay.
Saturday.
Well, I mean, you have him in fantasy,
Saturday.
so it should
Saturday.
update you.
I
what
remember
days-
Saturday.
See,
Yeah.
Look at that. But that's all for our show
47 minutes. I thought it'd be longer.
Honestly,
Honestly.
I think we pushed through on this one. I think
Yeah.
we're a little bit speeding on this.
Well, I think we're on the clock too. So they got the DJ coming up soon.
No
so,
worries. I mean, yeah, they're gonna have a DJ here for Latin Night 2000 90s music. I mean, it's gonna be popping over here at the White Rhino, like we said. Shout out to them for allowing us to do this. And as we have the Metro Rail too,
Yeah.
the Metro Rail right there. So whenever you want to come over here, hang out, drink a beer, get some alcohol beverages before you go out there, you can park free for here, then come back and then post game party.
Yeah.
I think this is the perfect spot. Like I said, I mean, you don't have to pay for parking over there. You can save on money and all that. Come over here. Great time, great food, great atmosphere. Shout out to the White Rhino.
Appreciate you. And appreciate y'all listening too. Pretty good crowd on YouTube and Twitter as well. So appreciate y'all.
Yeah, shout out to Milby as well, our alma mater over there at our high school. Wearing the jersey out here, M as well. It's the Mexico hat, but I mean, it's still Milby. Milby Street too is on the White Rhino over here on navigation, and
From
East-
Milby at Milby.
yeah, East Side, Edo. But that's all for our show. We will have the recap of that Tiger series, and then get that preview going for the Oakland Athletics. It's going to be a 3-team homestand with Oakland A's, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and the Milwaukee Brewers. So,
Absolutely.
till then, Angel, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, just follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Where to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and just be ready for more content to come.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do more of these. Like I said, probably once a month is going more than likely. 2 subscribers, Angel. We got 2 more subscribers
There we go.
until we get to that hundo. So,
Do it. Let's do it.
get it there. We'll do a little giveaway, maybe tickets. Like I said, just do it. But until then, we'll talk to y'all later. Y'all stay safe. Have a blessed weekend. Happy Mother's Day, too.
Oh, happy Mother's Day.
Happy
yes,
Mother's Day to all the
absolutely.
moms
Happy
out
Mother's
there.
to my wife and all the mothers out there.
Definitely. So until then, see y'all later.
Peace.